Hey everyone, in this video I'll be covering all of the new and hidden updates in Crimson Desert's patch 1.13, which is honestly one of the biggest patches that they've released, and per usual there's a lot of changes they just don't have listed in the notes we'll be covering in this video. There are a ton of new boss armors, and I'll be talking about how to get them in this video, as there are some that are a little bit confusing on how to get. As well, you can now dye two-handed weapons. And I'm just going to talk quickly about some of the hidden updates. We'll talk about them as we go through the video. But one thing, PlayStation 5, the performance has gotten terrible. And honestly, I'm playing on PC with an RTX 4070. My performance is much worse as well. So it doesn't seem to be just PlayStation 5 players, but most of them have been affected by this. Another thing I want to mention is that they changed the timing. If you press the select button here, which normally zooms in on your character, and now it's a little bit more trigger happy to open up the map, which is a little unfortunate because sometimes you just want to zoom in on your character. So if you want to zoom in, you do have to press this a little bit quicker. They also listed some armors that are now able to be worn by different characters, but they actually left off quite a few here, which will also be covered in this video. But one cool thing, there's a new item here for pets, the hunter sigil. So they added in a bunch of birds over the last few updates, and this allows them to hunt and gather prey and gatherable students to the unique skills. This is great for farming. As well, they did update the Sigil of Valor, so you can now use it with, if you have, for example, like the Phoenix, they'll shoot fireballs, which is really cool. And if you want to get this for yourself, it'll be in Peroran Village here, so it's just nearby the camp. There's a vendor that'll go in this big loop here. They loop around here, and they loop around the bottom part, so you can find it from them. You're basically looking for one of these like porter types that just doesn't have a huge backpack on, and they'll be selling all three of these. Which is great because your bird will now shoot off fireballs like you just saw there. So when you're in a fight, you now have a bit of extra help. This also applies to the Iron Eagle as well. And also not listed in the patch notes, the bird seems to be much better at going and retrieving arrows. So you can actually farm arrows a lot easier by just running around here and letting your bird pick them up, as you saw on the right hand side of the screen. So this makes the Phoenix so much better, and you can see there's some really cool attacks. Another update, Damiane and Oongka can now enter the Abyss and do some of the boss re-challenges there, which I think is really nice. It's fun to switch things up and play as them. Summon pets will now sleep alongside you when you enter a bed, and this works with pretty much all of them, but dogs and cats will look the best alongside like the Wyvern and the Phoenix as well. They'll actually sleep in the bed with you. And if you go into the settings under gameplay, at the very bottom here, you can hide the minimap and status now. So this is really nice because that'll no longer take up screen real estate. And I love that because sometimes you just want to play and have a much more immersive feel to it. So you can now go without all that versus having it on like this. So yeah, if you like that immersion, it is now a change. But there are 39 new pieces of equipment, including boss equipment. So here are the ones that turn... Knight of Carnage, which is what I was wearing here. Now, to get the full set, it's not like the other one, which actually lays it out for you. So with this, I believe it's completing all of Damiane and the Crimson Desert requests to be able to unlock this. And then you'll come on over to Damiane area, and there is a back alley vendor here that'll sell it to you. Now, you do have to beat the boss in Chapter 8 for the chest piece to be available, and you will sometimes get that. It may be in your camp chest. If not, go and re-challenge the boss, but they'll be at that location. They also added in Cassius's armor here, which looks amazing. Now, this one, they actually listed how to get this to unlock. So with this, you have to clear Chapter 6 when you fight him, and then you have to do Goyen's Advice Battle here, which will have the gloves. Master Do and his the Vanished Wagon here will get you the boots. The White Crow's Gaze Hunting, under the Hunter's Discipline here, you can get yourself the cloak, and then clearing Chapter 16 to get the rest. Now, some of these you may already have unlocked, and so looking into it, they don't have actually the Knight of Carnage outfit listed on where to get it. I've checked through every single journal entry. It is not listed there, unfortunately, so hopefully we'll get an update with that so you can find the rest of these, but I'm sure there's going to be resources online once that's all figured out. I went through and tried to find it. Unfortunately, couldn't really find it. You may get multiple copies of these armor too. If you've beat the boss, and make it added to your camp chest, and then you can also purchase this from the back alley vendor. And Cassius's armor is actually purchased over in the Calphade region, so it's from the back alley vendor just right there. But yeah, 39 new pieces of armor. But that's not all for equipment. There's actually a lot more. It says Damiane got 8 new pieces of equipment, and they actually look really nice. Damiane got new sets like the Dark Executioner leather armor here, as well as things like the Rivenheim cloth armor. So I'll show you what this looks like. So really nice set there. And the best part about all of these armors is you can dye them. She also has Sermina cloth armor here as well. So another skirt type outfit with the physics to it. We also have things like the Rovina cloth armor as well. So yeah, she got a ton of new armors. Now, one thing that wasn't actually listed in the patch notes is she can now wear some of the Cuckoo armor. So I accidentally left some of them at the camp, but like the ice resistant armor, she can now wear it. So that is something they didn't actually list in the patch notes, but she can wear the lightning, fire, and the frost resistant armors as well. And again, it is hard to figure out where all these armor is coming from because it doesn't seem like they actually updated the game to list it all. But Oongka can now wear most of the equipment that is available to Cliff. That is pretty huge, as Cliff was now able to wear a lot of Oongka's armors. Damiane can now equip the following boss armor. Oh, I guess it does say, yeah, Damiane can wear all these sets here, but she can now wear the Dark Marksman, the Odek armor, and the Mask Liberator set. There are also new crafting materials for carpets here. And they also added new attacks like the Flame Knights, Wyvern Flames, Savage Flames, and Golden Scale Bandits. And they also added crafting recipes for the Lightning Bolt plate armor, the Scorch Flame plate armor, and the Frost Cursed plate armor, which I think is nice. Now, dyes. They changed certain disguise outfits so they cannot be dyed when they can now be, so they can now be dyed. So this is huge. A lot of the things in the game that previously were undyeable now can be. Improved most weapons and secondary weapons so they can now be dyed. This includes two-handed weapons. I know that's one of the most requested things for this game. But yeah, now if you go to dye, all these pieces of armor are available here. I'm sure there's a few that cannot be dyed still as they're kind of working on things like that. But yeah, you can dye two-handed weapons now. And I think this looks awesome because they're so large. As mentioned, the Iron Eagle and Phoenix now work with the Iron Sigil of Valor here. So that's really nice. You can now gather up to 3 fireflies when using the colony. They also fixed some of the puzzles that you'd have to use your arrows, so you can now use them as scatter shot. That was one thing I know was annoying to some people who wanted to play as Oongka. They also fixed the issue where if you're targeting someone, it would sometimes swap to another target. They also fixed the wagon and some issues, which is one of the more annoying things in this game. They also fixed some issues with repurchasing that was not properly done. So if you bought like furniture, for example, it'd end up deleting all those items there. And they also fixed some other quest flags. Now, one thing, the camp contribution, you used to be able to cheese that. That has been fixed, so you can no longer donate and take things back and then make it count as if you donated a bunch of them. So that is quite unfortunate. They also improved Axiom Force, but it does still seem bugged, so whenever you immediately lock onto a target, it'll, during the soft lock, it'll actually use it properly, but I'm still seeing that it is a bit buggy. And they also fixed issues with Damiane's smiting strike proficiency when using a spear, and also Oongka whenever he was exiting reading memories, he would go into flight for some reason, and also fixed the counter stance when using a flag. It's now proper as well. They fixed it so that you can't move around during cutscenes that you're not supposed to. Pretty cool combat change. They improved muskets and pistols so you can now fire them while sliding, which I think is like maximum aura. This is also huge. Fixed an issue where using the focus area roll near NPCs would be considered a crime. This is something I thought was kind of normal because you're using like your Axiom Force power, kind of the same thing as you're punching to get up into the air. So that is fixed. I've had this happen a lot. I'm sure you had as well. They also fixed an issue where a character would freeze whenever they're doing a jump attack from a high place. I thought that was normal so that you could use the elemental abilities, but hey, that seems to be still fine with that. They also fixed a lot of the sliding attacks, and a lot of Oongka's abilities and Damiane's have been fixed to be a little bit more proper because there was a few bugs with that, most notably like Damiane's smiting strike and a lot of the Oongka's grapples. And they also improved some of the flight animations for the Wyvern. The Wyvern can also dive bomb down now, so if you're flying on the Wyvern and you target downwards and press X, it can fly really quickly. They also changed inventory closes when you're using elixirs. Damiane and Oongka got improved Switch UI display situations, so that whenever you're doing something that was normally progressing with Cliff, it now works properly. They also improved it so that things that cannot be dyed will not be selectable in the UI when you go to try and dye it. Now the graphics settings here, PS5 fixed an issue where cutscenes would occasionally stutter. It seems like they made it so it always stutters, because I know PlayStation 5 is having a lot of issues there, so hopefully Pearl Abyss will get a hot fix out quickly for that. I know in the past they have, so hopefully. They also fixed some loading issues, but as mentioned, I am finding that there is some issues with the overall lag to this game. I unfortunately got... Yeah, sometimes when you're riding your horse in town, it does give you a wanted, unfortunately, even when you're at your camp. But it does seem like the horse stamina recovery bug has been fixed, so I know that's been affecting a lot of people where the stamina wasn't properly recovering on horses. I know the bears were sometimes getting this issue as well too, and haven't really noticed it myself, but let me know if this is still bothering you, and let me know if you found anything else secret hidden in the new patch for Crimson Deserts 1.13, and hope you guys all have a great day. Subscribe if you found this video useful, and we'll catch you in the next one.